Welcome everyone to Freshwater Turtles of Georgia, our second session in Confluence 2020. Woo! My name's Cecilia and I'm going to be your host for this evening. I'm one of the program assistants with Georgia AdoptoStream and I'm super excited to be here. Happy to see everybody virtually. And Jenna?
Yeah, my name is Jenna and I'm an AdoptoStream state coordinator. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with Georgia AdoptoStream, it's a citizen science program that trains volunteers to monitor the water quality of Georgia's waterways. And so Georgia AdoptoStream has an annual volunteer conference called Confluence, which is what you are a part of right now by being here on this awesome webinar. So thank you for being here. And this is the first year that we are doing virtual Confluence. So we thank everyone kind of ahead of time for bearing with us as we navigate these new waters together. And we're really excited that you're here.
Yeah. Well, great. Before we introduce the speaker, Ken, for tonight's session, we just want to give you guys a few Zoom housekeeping notes just before so that you're aware. Just a reminder, as we mentioned before, this session is being recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube and the links posted in our Facebook group and on our website. So just a heads up about that. You will remain muted for the duration of this session. And during the presentation, the chat will be disabled so that we can give our full attention to our lovely presenter. But if you do have a question during the presentation, some of you have already used this, but we have a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So feel free to type in your questions into this Q&A box, and we will be sure to answer them at the end of the presentation. If you need Jenna's or my attention for any reason during the presentation, you can also use the raise hand feature, which is also located at the bottom of your screen next to that Q&A function. And this will just notify us that maybe you're having some sort of technical difficulties, you can't hear, you can't see the presentation, you know, anything you need to let us know personally. So today's presentation is pre-recorded, but as you can see, our speaker is here with us today. And he will be here throughout the duration of the session and to answer any questions after the presentation. So Ken, if you just want to say hi real quick before we get started.
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm glad you're here, and I wish we could do this in person. I had all these live specimens I was going to bring. I know I do have over here behind me. I do have a redfoot tortoise I could hold up later, but I had organized with friends to even bring it. I even had a bog turtle that I could have borrowed and stuff like that. You want me to say anything about myself at this point, or not?
Well, we can, or if you want to, we have your intro, but you can do it.
Well, I know, but real quick, I got involved in AdoptoStream probably longer ago than you guys have been alive, and I started doing it with both my college and my high school students as a way to get them outdoors into the field and interested in water quality. Right? I've been interested in turtles far longer than that, from the time I was about 4, but I am a retired herpetologist and a turtle biologist. I studied bog turtles here in Georgia and river cooters at Auburn University, where I got my doctorate. So,
great. Well, thank you so much. I guess we will go ahead and pull up your presentation. So just give me one moment to do so.
Welcome. My name is Dr. Ken Fahey, and I'm here to talk to you today about the freshwater turtles of Georgia. Georgia has 27 native species of turtles. 5 of these are sea turtles. 1 is a tortoise, and the remaining 21 are freshwater turtles, with the exception of the box turtle, which spends most of its time on land. Many of the photos in this presentation and the maps were borrowed with permission from the Amphibians and Reptiles of Georgia by Jensen, Camp, Gibbons, and Elliott. Pictured on this slide is Georgia's smallest and rarest turtle, the bog turtle, found only in isolated mountain bogs. It is currently listed as federally threatened. Oh, and that's me in the photo also. Some organisms are sometimes difficult to recognize for what they are. Whales and bats, for example, are both mammals, but do not resemble each other much. Some animals, like birds, are easy. They all have feathers, they lay eggs, and they have no teeth. Turtles are easy to recognize also. All turtles have a shell which in no way is removable because it is made up of their flattened ribs and their backbone. Turtle shells vary in their size and how protective they are, but all turtle shells have a top called the carapace and a bottom called the plastron. These are held together by a structure called the bridge. This is the complete shell of a common snapping turtle, and it is not as protective as many turtle shells. This might explain why snappers have such a bad disposition and tend to be very aggressive on land. Snapping turtles, like all turtles, have no teeth, another identifying characteristic of turtles. But all turtles have sharp, bony, toothless jaws with powerful muscles that operate the jaws. A large snapper can inflict a painful bite that will require medical attention. The even larger alligator snapping turtle would be capable of removing a finger. Another major characteristic, all turtles are egg layers. Female turtles select a site on land with loose soil and dig a flask-shaped hole to deposit their eggs in. After they bury the eggs, the females leave, and that is all the parental care that is given. If the nest is flooded, the eggs will die. If someone digs up the eggs, they will usually not survive. The temperature of incubation in most turtles is what determines whether the individual offspring will be male or female. There are two large freshwater turtles in Georgia in the family Chelydridae, the snapping turtles. The common snapping turtle, Chelydra serpentina, is found in all types of bodies of water, including roadside ditches, streams, ponds, lakes, rivers, and even brackish marshes, and is found statewide. This is the snapping turtle that most people see crossing roads, digging nests, eating their ducklings, or caught on their fishing line. In the water, it will usually try to escape, but on land, it will aggressively defend itself. These turtles reach a carapace length of 11 to about 20 inches, and though 10 to 20 pounds is average, there are records in the 70 to 80 pound range. On land, they can be aggressive and should not be approached. Besides the alligator and the venomous snakes, adult common snappers are one of Georgia's dangerous reptiles. If left alone, this turtle will not knowingly attack humans. It can easily be distinguished from its larger cousin, the alligator snapping turtle, by the pinkish color of the entire mouth and the jagged spiked tail. The alligator snapping turtle, Macrochelys temminckii, is the largest freshwater turtle in Georgia, the U.S., and one of the largest in the entire world. Adults can grow to 30 inches with females weighing as much as 50 pounds and record males occasionally over 200 pounds. This turtle is only found in Gulf of Mexico drainages and in Georgia is confined to the lower southwestern part of the state. It is a river and bayou turtle found primarily in the Chattahoochee, Flint, and tributaries of the Suwannee River in Georgia. Hatchling and young turtles have rough shells. Alligator snappers are ambush predators, sitting on the bottom and waiting for food to come to them. The inside of their mouth is nearly the same color as the rest of their head, except for a worm-like pink extension. This lure is used to attract fish, smaller turtles, and other aquatic organisms. Alligator snappers rarely leave the water and are clumsy on land. Females leave the water to nest, but usually nest at night and close to the water. Another family of smaller, dull-colored turtles are the Kinosternidae, or mud and musk turtles. These are small, under 4 inches, bottom crawlers. Musk turtles have very small plastrons with the front section hinged, and mud turtles have larger plastrons with a front and a back hinge. These turtles are easily distinguished from the snapping turtles by their very short tails. Mud and musk turtles mostly eat aquatic invertebrates and also scavenge. The common musk turtle here, Sternotheris odoratus, is found statewide and prefers still water habitats. Often referred to as the stink pot, this turtle gives off a foul odor that resembles the smell of a skunk. This turtle can be identified by its yellow stripes on the head and the small front hinged plastron. Though not dangerous, this turtle is somewhat belligerent and will bite when handled. Usually the bite is just a painful pinch. Another musk turtle found in Georgia is the striped neck or loggerhead musk turtle, Sternotherus minor. These turtles are found throughout the state except for the mountains. They prefer rivers and streams. They have a flattened shell, and large adults have large crushing jaws. All species of musk turtles are good climbers and sometimes climb into trees that overhang the water as high as 6 feet. The eastern mud turtle, Kinosternon subrubrum, is found throughout the state of Georgia except in the mountains. This turtle has a domed shell, and the plastron is yellow with the front and a back hinge. This turtle lives mostly in still water and wetlands. It spends a good deal of time on land during wetter weather. Although dull colored, the young have a bright orange plastron. The striped mud turtle, Kinosternon baurii, is named for the yellow stripes on its head. Other than that, it resembles the eastern mud turtle. In fact, these two turtles look so much alike, the striped mud turtle's extensive range in southern Georgia was not known until careful examination of museum records showed many misidentified specimens. This turtle is found in quiet, shallow blackwater swamps associated with rivers in the coastal plain. It is usually not found in isolated ponds. Though most mud and musk turtles are belligerent, the striped-necked mud turtle is mild-mannered and usually does not attempt to bite. Soft-shell turtles cannot be mistaken for any other turtle. Flat, pancake-like, with a pig-like snout and a leathery shell that is not hard and bony. There are two species of soft-shell turtles in Georgia. The spiny soft-shell turtle is found throughout the state except in the mountains. Baby turtles and males have a spotted pattern on their shell, while adult females have a mottled pattern of light and dark areas of greenish-gray. Females can grow to around 13 inches, but adult males are usually only half that length. Softshells are fast swimmers and also fast when on land. They eat mostly crawfish, but also eat insects and fish. These turtles will snap aggressively, and the bite of a large adult could possibly need medical attention. The Florida softshell turtle is an even bigger turtle, with adult females reaching over 2 feet in length and adult males reaching around 1 foot. Adult turtles are dull greenish-brown, but hatchlings have an olive shell with a bright orange edge and yellow striping on the head. Florida softshells are found only in the coastal plain in larger bodies of water. They feed on a variety of aquatic life, including fish, insects, and other invertebrates. All softshell turtles lay hard-shelled eggs that are round, and the hatchling sex is determined genetically, not by temperature. One of the most noticeable groups of turtles in Georgia are the basking turtles of the family Imididae. These are the hard-shelled turtles you see basking on logs and rocks in ponds and streams throughout the state. These turtles range in size from the tiny bog turtle at about 3.5 inches to the river cooter at 16 inches. The painted turtle, Clemmys picta, shown here, is an aquatic turtle that grows to about 10 inches. Bright colored, it has a shell that is edged in reddish markings, and its plastron is either yellow or orange. The head is striped in yellow and red. Painted turtles are found in the northern half of the state above the fall line. They prefer ponds or slow-moving, shallow, muddy streams. Painted turtles eat both plants and animal material. The pond slider turtle, or yellow-bellied slider, Trachemys scripta, is found in most of the state except for the northeast quarter. Pond sliders live in almost all slow-moving or stillwater habitats. They are common, noticeable turtles due to their habit of basking in large numbers on logs. As adults, these turtles are mostly vegetarian, eating a variety of aquatic plants. Young turtles are more carnivorous, eating some insects, fish, and amphibians. These turtles can be identified by their greenish-brown carapace with yellow striping and their yellow plastron with spots along the edge and towards the front. The head has a yellow to slightly orange striping. Many pond sliders in Georgia, particularly in the southwest portion of the state, show some reddish coloring on the head due to the influence of the more western subspecies, the red-eared slider, shown here. But throughout the state, individuals with reddish head stripes can be found due to the once popular pet trade in red-eared sliders. Many of these turtles were released and have interbred with pond sliders, producing turtles with slightly reddish marks. The river cooter, Pseudemys concinna, is the largest of the basking turtles in the state. It is found throughout the state except for the mountains and the southeast corner. This is a river turtle and is found in all of the larger rivers and streams. It can be found in some lakes that have been created through the damming of rivers. The turtle can be identified by the pattern of yellow striping on the head and the intricate swirled pattern of C-shaped yellow and orange lines on the carapace. Many turtles are beautifully patterned works of art. The plastron may be yellow or orange with varying amounts of spotting. These turtles are more flattened than either the pond slider or the Florida cooter. As adults, these turtles are completely herbivorous, and as juveniles, they tend to eat more plants than animal material. River cooters rarely leave the water except to bask or lay eggs. The Florida cooter, Pseudemys floridana, is a close relative of the river cooter and may indeed occasionally hybridize with it. Florida cooters are found only in the lower coastal plain and are a turtle of ponds, lakes, and slow-moving waters. They can be distinguished from the river cooters by their high dome shell and a much less intricate pattern of yellow lines on the carapace, usually mostly just straight lines, and also a lemon-yellow plastron with no spotting. This turtle's feeding habits are the same as the river cooters. They are almost entirely vegetarian. Florida cooters may be difficult to distinguish from pond sliders unless you have both turtles in hand. It is thought that Florida cooters have evolved the higher domed and thicker shell as a defense against alligator predation. Though not always successful, many big old Florida cooters have scars and old punctures from alligator attacks. Florida red-bellied turtles, Pseudemys nelsoni, just barely enter the state in the southeast corner. This is a turtle of slow-moving or still tannin-stained water and even occurs in brackish water. In Georgia, this turtle has been found in the Okefenokee Swamp, the St. Mary's River, and in freshwater ponds on Cumberland Island. The high dome shell with reddish stripes on each section of the plastron identify this turtle. The plastron is usually reddish-orange. Adults of this species are also herbivorous, and the juveniles eat both plant and animal material. The chicken turtle, Derochelys reticularia, is an interesting turtle found only in the coastal plain of Georgia. It has a fairly high dome shell with faint yellow net-like patterns. The head and extremely long neck are about the same length as the entire shell. The head and neck are yellow striped, and the plastron is lemon yellow. Chicken turtles are inhabitants of seasonal wetlands. They are found in small ponds that dry up in the summer, and they spend quite a bit of time on land. They feed mostly on aquatic insects and crawfish. They are one of our only turtles that nest in the fall and the winter. These turtles have become scarce due to the clearing of forests around their temporary wetlands. There are 3 species of map turtles in Georgia. Map turtles are river turtles that feed primarily on mollusks and insects and spend lots of time basking when the weather permits. Map turtles are generally olive-colored with patterns of yellow to orange lines on the shell and the body. Each of the 3 map turtles in Georgia are found only in a single river system. Barber's map turtle, shown here, is found only in the Chattahoochee and Flint River systems. Adult females average around 1 foot, while adult males are only about 4 to 5 inches. Adult females have very large, flat heads with huge crushing jaw surfaces useful in consuming mollusks. Males tend to eat more aquatic insects. Barber's map turtle and the closely related Alabama map turtle are difficult to tell apart, but the distinguishing features are subtle differences in head pattern. Location is the best way to tell these 2 species apart. Alabama maps are in the Conasauga and Oostenaula rivers in northwest Georgia. Barber's map turtles are found in the Chattahoochee and Flint River system in southwest Georgia. Alabama map turtle, Glyptemys pulchra, is a close relative of the Barber's map turtle. In Georgia, the Alabama map turtle is found in the Conasauga and Oostenaula rivers in the northwest corner of the state. For years, this turtle was thought to be a highly variable species that ranged from Georgia through eastern Louisiana. But further research has revealed that there is actually a complex of several species, each found in a separate river system. Alabama map turtles, like Barber's map turtles, have very different sized adult male and females with different feeding habits. Both Barber's and Alabama map turtles have greenish yellow blotches around the eye and a jagged keel on the carapace. The common map turtle, Graptemys geographica, is only recorded from the Conasauga River in Georgia. These turtles have a very intricate pattern on the shell, hence the name map turtle, and a pattern of yellow striping on the head and limbs. There is not as great a difference in the size of the adult males and females in this species. The diamondback terrapene, Clemmys terrapene, is Georgia's only brackish water turtle. This turtle inhabits brackish and saltwater estuaries, tidal creeks, rivers, and sounds. It can occasionally be found in the open ocean near shore. As in the map turtles, the adult females are larger than males. Females reach a size of about 6 to 9 inches, while males are only about 4 to 5.5 inches. These are exceptionally beautiful turtles with a bluish-gray skin color covered with black spots. In Georgia, this turtle is only found along the coast in brackish water environments. They are easily distinguished from sea turtles since sea turtles have paddle-like flippers. This photo in the upper left shows the size difference between adult male and female diamondback terrapens. In the bottom left is an adult female showing the broad, crushing jaws used for consuming mollusks. Diamondback terrapens face a number of serious threats. Development along the coast has claimed much of their nesting areas, and traffic on roads along the coast take a large toll on nesting females and emerging hatchlings. A big threat to juveniles and adult males are crab traps, which drown many turtles every year. The spotted turtle, Clemmys guttata, is one of Georgia's smaller, around 5 inches, and more attractive turtles. It is also a rare turtle found in scattered localities in the coastal plain. This turtle inhabits shallow water habitats such as wooded swamps, streams, marshes, fens, and bogs. It is mostly active from February through March, and the rest of the year it is rarely observed. Males of this turtle have mostly a black head with brown eyes, and females have yellow heads and jaws and necks with yellow to orange eyes. This turtle is under threat from habitat destruction and collection for the pet trade. Georgia's rarest and smallest turtle is the bog turtle, Glyptemys muhlenbergii, which is only known from about a dozen remote mountain bog habitats. Georgia is at the periphery of the range of this turtle, but throughout its range, this is a rare and secretive turtle. Adult turtles average around 3 to 3.5 inches with a record of about 4.5 inches. The main distinguishing feature is the yellow, pinkish, or orange blotch behind the eye. The skin is also mottled with orange pigment close to the shell. Bog turtles spend much of their time underground burrowing through loose, soupy mud. They are most active in the early spring, and once the vegetation has grown, they are nearly impossible to find. Bog turtles are listed federally as threatened and by Georgia DNR as endangered. The two biggest threats are development and also the collection for the pet trade. Though a member of the basking turtle family, the box turtle, Terrapene carolina, is not really a freshwater turtle. It is terrestrial and spends nearly all of its time on land. It does enter shallow water during hot weather and can swim. Box turtles are found statewide and are most common in rural areas away from roads and where there is nearby water. They feed on land and hibernate in stump holes or in other animal burrows. In Georgia, the eastern box turtle is the subspecies that is most common, but there is influence of the three-toed, the Gulf Coast, and Florida box turtles along the southern boundary of the state. Box turtles are found in all kinds of habitats in Georgia and eat a variety of things from insects to worms to fruit and carrion. They are perfectly at home on land and well adapted with a hinged plastron that can close up tightly. Mature specimens, when closed up, can survive attacks from raccoons, dogs, and other terrestrial predators. Their biggest enemy is man, more specifically cars. Road mortality can decimate populations, and it is not uncommon on a warm, damp spring day to see dozens of box turtles crushed on roads due to cars. Unfortunately, their slow reproductive rate may not keep up with this mortality, and in suburban and urban areas, many populations have been eliminated. In today's world, there are many threats to turtle populations. The biggest of these is habitat destruction. In our need to build roads, subdivisions, and other infrastructure, many habitats are degraded or completely eliminated along with turtle species that once lived there. It was once thought that it would be a good idea to relocate populations as development occurred, but turtles have such a strong homing instinct that in most cases the adults try to return to where they were removed from, usually with disastrous consequences. It is better to preserve their habitats. By far, the second biggest threat to turtles are roads. Turtles have no ability to learn to avoid roads or the cars on them. Many turtle species migrate as aquatic habitats dry during hot summers. Female turtles lay eggs on land and often away from their aquatic habitats, and often must cross roads to get to preferred nesting sites. The turtle above is a Blandings turtle from the northeast. It spends much of its time on land and ranges far and wide. In areas where many roads have intersected its habitat, populations of this turtle have crashed or entirely been eliminated. In Georgia, along the coast and on barrier islands, diamondback terrapene populations are undergoing this same fate. The turtles must cross roads to get from their brackish water habitats to nesting sites, and every year hundreds of females attempting to nest are killed on roads. It is possible to build culverts or tunnels and barriers to channel turtle movements, but these projects take time and money and are not usually approved. I apologize for the gruesome picture. Another major threat to turtle populations is commercial trade for food and pets. Georgia recently enacted laws to prevent the massive export of turtles to Asia for food. In many Asian countries, turtles have been eaten so regularly that the native populations have been eliminated, and now the market has turned to other countries. When it was discovered that many southern U.S. states had become targets, some of these states have enacted laws prohibiting the collection of export of turtles for food. The pet trade is still a problem. All over the world, but particularly in the United States, Europe, and Japan, turtles are prized as pets. This is a box of Indian starred tortoises. Beautiful, but difficult to keep in captivity. In fact, most turtles do not make great pets. They need specific conditions, they need high quality and specific food. Unfortunately, they have become known as good pets simply because it takes them a long time to die when poorly kept. Years past, every Woolworth's, an old department store most of you have never heard of, sort of like a small Walmart's, had a pet department with tanks full of red-eared sliders. Most of these hatchlings were produced in giant Louisiana farms and sold all over the world. Most of these turtles did not survive, but many that did were released into the wild when they grew too large or their owners got tired of them. In many places, these released turtles thrived, which brings me to my next threat. Invasive species. Red-eared sliders now occur here in Georgia, where they interbreed with our yellow-bellied sliders. They also occur in Japan, China, Australia, South Africa, Europe, England, and California. They have become pests that sometimes threaten the local populations of native species of turtles by competing for food or spreading disease. This alligator snapping turtle was caught in the state of Washington, and common snappers occur all over the U.S. outside of their normal range. some Pacific pond turtles in Northern California, but along with them, a red-eared slider from the southeastern U.S. Water pollution is a major crisis in this country, and though turtles are tough animals, water pollution does affect them. It affects their food supply, and they may be affected by toxins in the water and by larger items of pollution like plastics or other refuse. A study years ago at the Savannah River nuclear site showed that adult slider turtles could withstand and carry a fairly high level of radiation, more than would be healthy for humans. But when a body of water is too polluted to support a turtle population, or when dead turtles are encountered, as in this picture, it is an indication of severe pollution which needs to be investigated. When we think of plastics pollution and turtles, we think of sea turtles ingesting plastic bags that they think are jellyfish. Sea turtles also get entangled in fishing nets. Ingested plastics plug up turtles' digestive tracts and eventually kill the turtle. But plastics can also affect freshwater turtles. Brightly colored bits of plastic can be attractive to turtles and can be ingested and do the same thing to freshwater turtles as to sea turtles. Styrofoam has become a big problem in freshwater lakes. Any inert, indigestible pollutants can be lethal to turtles. Plastics also pose an entanglement problem for freshwater turtles. This picture may be extreme or a rare occurrence. This poor turtle obviously got this can holder stuck on her a long time ago, and it has permanently affected her growth. Though turtle populations throughout the world and in Georgia are under serious threats, there is hope. With wide-ranging animals like mammals and birds, conservation and preservation can be difficult. But often with turtles, it may simply mean protect their habitat and prevent collecting or harvesting. Educating people to leave them alone is also important. This turtle pictured is the Plymouth Redbelly turtle, today found only in a couple of counties on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It is a beautiful turtle with lots of red coloring along the edge of its shell and on the plastron. It once occurred throughout much of eastern Massachusetts, but development, pollution, and loss of habitat have reduced it to a number of ponds and rivers in just a couple of counties at the base of the Cape Cod Peninsula. Along with development, habitat loss, and pollution, predation of nearly 100% by skunks and raccoons on the eggs and hatchlings was causing the populations to crash. The total number of adults may have gotten as low as 200 individuals when the Massachusetts Fish and Wildlife partnered with local schools and conservation groups to begin head-starting turtles in an attempt to rescue the population of this species. Since the 1980s, turtle nests have been protected and hatchlings have been raised to a more survivable size and then released into the wild. Some of this work was done in partnership with local high school groups. Turtles that had been raised to a juvenile size in captivity had been released into the habitats of their parents, and also into habitats where these species have disappeared from. So from a low of only 200 adults in the 1980s, the population of adults was up to over 600 breeding adults in 2011. It has even been documented that some of the captive head-started individuals have bred and laid eggs. Projects similar to this with bog turtles here in Georgia and with diamondback terrapens in other states may save these species of turtles, but the most important thing we need to do is preserve their habitats. Number of religions, including Hindu, the turtle is sacred. The earth is perched on the backs of elephants who stand on a giant turtle that paddles through the cosmos. Though I can offer no scientific evidence that this is so, turtles, for other reasons, deserve our protection. They're not dangerous. They're not pests. They do not spread disease. We do not need them, but today, many of them need our help to survive. It will be a sad commentary on the human race if we let them disappear.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ken, for that incredibly interesting talk. I think that baby terrapin was one of the cutest things that I've ever seen, and for informing us on all of the you know, things that are threatening our turtle populations, but also what we can do to help. So I think we have a question for you, if you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
So we have one question from Sandra, which is the population of is there a population of turtle, is the population of the turtle an indication of water quality? I believe.
Yeah, like I said, talking about pollution, turtles are really tough animals. They can stand a lot more pollution than a lot of other animals like fish or amphibians. So I would not, you know, we couldn't design an adoptive stream problem to monitor turtles and use it as a water quality indicator. I've seen snapping turtles in really, really nasty water. Sewage treatment plants, for instance, sedimentation ponds, you find snapping turtles swimming around happy as can be.
We have another question from Kate, and it is, what is the evolutionary advantage of having temperature determine gender?
You know, it's still being debated even by scientists. A lot of people think that with warming temperatures, due to perhaps, you know, the warming of the planet, that's going to be one of the things that does turtles in. But obviously, you need certain numbers of individuals. If you noticed in the map turtles and the diamondback terrapins, the females are very large. And that's so they can lay lots of eggs. So males, God, I hate to say this, you know, I hate to say this to probably my sex, males are sort of superfluous. We don't need so many, right? And turtles are not monogamous. So one or two male turtles is all you need in a pond full of females. So it may be that temperature dependence or temperature sex determination produces the right number for that particular habitat. Now in one nest, like a sea turtle nest, you can have lots of males, say, on the outside and lots of females on the inside, just due to slight temperature differences. But you know, there are some turtles that they do have X and Y chromosomes like us.
I have a quick follow-up question to that. What is the temperature, like in the warmer temperatures, is that where the females are?
I believe the warmer temperature produces females and the cooler produces males. And you know, the rhyme or reason for that, in something like, if you've ever heard of a lizard people keep as a pet called leopard geckos, it's the opposite. Warm temperatures, I think, produce males, cooler temperatures, females. So I don't understand, and I don't know that we have figured out why exactly it works that way, and why some turtles have sex chromosomes and others don't. And it doesn't seem to really make a lot of, you know, logic.
Very interesting. I think we have one more question. Of course, we can keep, if you guys have more questions, please feel free to keep them coming. But April wanted to know if there is a safe way to help a snapping turtle cross the road with basic stuff from your car.
Well, if it's not a very big turtle, you can pick it up by the tail, right? It's not good to do that regularly because you dislocate tail vertebra, which eventually could hurt the turtle or even kill it. So big heavy snappers, you don't do that to. But you know, the danger is to the person, because snappers are aggressive, they will bite, they will, you know, they'll mess you up if you give the opportunity. With any turtle, if you see a turtle crossing, you want to help it, move it to the side that it was headed to. It's gonna, if you drag it back to where it came from, it's gonna just walk back out in the road. But you know, if you have something in a car, you know, a pole, the trouble with snappers on land is they're gonna defend themselves, and they're going to turn and face you and defend themselves, and they're going to then stop in the road, and every way you turn, they're going to sort of come after you. So, you know, I always tell everybody, you see a turtle in the road, box turtle, you sure rescue it, but don't become a roadkill yourself trying to rescue a turtle. Snappers, I really don't recommend, you know, the average person messing with a big common snapper. They're not as dangerous as a poisonous snake or an alligator, but they are something that you should maybe just let it walk off the road by itself.
Yeah. All right, we had another question come in from Jacob. He is asking, when the temperature of the earth warms because of global warming, do turtles have the ability to seek out specific temperatures, or will they stay in the same area?
You know, we're not sure about what's going to happen. If temperatures in certain areas go up quite a bit, it may be that a temperature sex-determined species may have trouble producing the right ratio of males and females. That's a theory. You know, an important point, and I don't want to start the political discussion here of, you know, global warming or not global warming, but keep in mind that the Earth has been around for a long time. Turtles have been around since, you know, the age of the dinosaurs, since probably the late Triassic, and they've survived all this time, and the Earth has been warmer. So I think there is hope that there are mechanisms that these things can cope with. I have noticed on populations I've studied, I have noticed changes in nesting due to wetter, dry season, or just over the years. So they do have that ability. So it may well be that. Now, the problem that we have today is the changes that are happening to our environment, warming, roads, they're happening quickly. Whereas most of the changes without our help happened over millions of years. When we drain a site or change a site or something like that, animals have trouble adapting to that. And turtles, I hate to say it, but they're not the smartest animals in the world, and they're very, you know, their behavior is very well determined by instinct. So they have a hard time adapting.
Well, we have another question that just came in from Brenda, who asked if you could tell us more about the high school program that is raising and releasing turtles, and where she could find more information about this.
Well, that was up like in Barnstable, Massachusetts, and basically what they were doing, those red-bellied turtles, they were disappearing. They were only down to a few ponds and one river, and so the Massachusetts Fish and Wildlife Service came in and they contracted with folks and with high schools to raise turtles, and they farmed out turtles. They would dig up a nest, and they would protect half the eggs, and they would hatch out half the eggs and give them to people to raise. And those people then, you saw in that picture, it said turtle returns here. Well, when the turtles got to a certain size, people would return the turtles. And you know, I grew up in Massachusetts, but I haven't lived in Massachusetts for gosh, you know, 40 years nearly. So I don't know where the program is now. I know that we have a program because I worked with it for a long time on bog turtles in the mountains. And you know, anybody who lives in the mountains and knows of a wet boggy area like the back end of a beaver pond, on their property, if it had bog turtles, they should report it to the non-game division, and maybe let them come up and investigate to see if they're there, because those habitats are disappearing. And if we can protect those habitats or find new ones that we can release hatchling or juvenile turtles into, we can boost those populations. Anybody on the coast, I think DNR is working on diamondback terrapene projects that they might get involved in. So if you live in Georgia, check with the non-game division as to maybe how you could get involved.
Awesome. Thanks for that recommendation, Ken. I personally have a question that kind of is maybe bounces off Brenda's question a little bit. So I was wondering what the survival rate of captive bred turtles is, because you mentioned that they have very extreme like homing instincts. And so if you raise a turtle in captivity and then you place it, is it like homing instincts? Are they disrupted, or how does that generally work?
You know, that's hard to say. It was something that you found as a hatchling and you decided as an adult to turn it loose what it's going to do. But you know, we have found that lots of turtles, and one example I'll give you, a friend of mine who studied bog turtles up in eastern Tennessee put a radio transmitter on turtles. We were all doing this at one point, and he tracked this turtle, and it moved like 5 miles, and this is a 3-inch turtle, and it seemed to know where it was going. It went up over the Appalachian Trail and down the other side of the mountain to a bog that it found there. And I have found turtles that we've found turtles that have gotten released in the wrong site, and they found their way back to another site miles away. So when you relocate a turtle, like you're driving down the road and you pick up a box turtle, and you say, oh, I'll just take him home and turn him loose in my backwoods. If it's only a couple miles away, he's probably going to try to go back to where he was. He probably has, you know, somehow he knows he's in the wrong place and he's going back to where he it's not like you or me. They don't read. But they somehow have some kind of cue where they know how to get back there. And of course, if they got to cross roads and parking lots, that's disastrous. Frankly, if you get a turtle as a hatchling and you raise it, you should probably not turn it loose. Okay, you should probably just say that's a lifetime commitment, and if you decide you don't want it, pass it on to your younger siblings, your kids, nieces and nephews. Just here's a Christmas present, and just keep it going. But and another thing to add is that I said this, and it is true. Turtles don't make the greatest pets in the world. They're not as easy to take care of as a cat or a dog. They require a lot of special conditions, and a lot of people just aren't willing to make the sacrifice involved. If you have a cat and you decide you're going out of town for 2 weeks, you board the cat or somebody takes care of it, right? A pet turtle deserves the same care. Trouble with pet turtles is they may outlive you. I mean, some tortoises and some turtles, just box turtles like we have here in Georgia, the record is 123 years. We have a pretty well documented, yeah. I mean, that's probably unique, but they probably do live 50 or 60 years. So, they live a long time and they need proper care just like any other pet. So it's people see, I mean, you mentioned the diamondback terrapins were cute, and yeah, they're one of the cutest turtles. And I years ago, I kept a couple as pets, and when I see a little hatching diamondback terrapin, boy, I'm tempted. But I just realize it's much better in its own habitat. They're along the coast and they're disappearing anyways, but they are cute. But again, it's a brackish water turtle. It's really tough to keep a brackish water animal that, it's fresh water and then it's salt water and it's in between, and there's all these animals in between. That's a real tough animal to care for.
Sure.
So, yep.
Well, it doesn't seem like we have any more questions. We do have a couple more minutes, so if anybody does have any last minute questions. It looks like Laura asked, are there wildlife centers or educational facilities in the state that can take in turtles that are no longer wanted as pets?
I believe places like the Chattahoochee Nature Center and some of the other nature centers will take them, but they're hard to place because, people buy these pick up a little hatchling red-eared slider, and suddenly it's 10, 12 inches and huge. And, the easiest thing is just take it down to the nearby pond and turn it loose and, and say a prayer that it does well. Sometimes they do too well. But it's, that's the problem. In Florida, in South Florida, we have Burmese pythons. We have all kinds of foreign, some foreign turtles. And that's the problem with the pet trade, is that people buy things that they later on get tired of, or later on have, remorse that, oh, I shouldn't have bought this thing. And here's this python they bought that was 13 inches and now it's 9 feet long. And, what do you do? There are places that'll take them. And, you could try a pet store, you could try the Chattahoochee Nature Center or some of the other nature centers around, and they may take them. But, I hate to say it, but Georgia DNR has a law that if you trap an animal on your property, like a raccoon or a chipmunk or a squirrel, you're not supposed to relocate them. You are supposed to euthanize them. I hate to say the same thing, but if you can't keep your pet turtle of 20 years, and it doesn't belong here, you don't know where it belongs, you really shouldn't turn it loose. I would hate to recommend killing the turtle. I have a younger cousin who lives in Long Island, New York, and she at a camp came home with a little 2-inch turtle, and that was over 25 years ago. And she now has this 10-inch painted turtle that she's had for all these years. And not a lot of people are willing to make that sacrifice, but if you're going to take something out of the wild, it probably shouldn't go back. Another thing, if you release a turtle you've kept, how do you know it hasn't picked up some disease or some parasite? Because we have found in bog turtle populations, in gopher tortoises, and in sea turtles and a few other species, diseases from other parts of the world that have gotten into those populations, probably because a captive individual was turned loose. So we have to start being careful of that sort of stuff.
Well, that was a lot of really amazing information. If there's any last questions, go ahead and send them in. But if not, Thank you
I
so
have one last
much.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that box turtles hibernate.
Yes.
I was not aware of turtle hibernation. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, sure. Turtles are cold-blooded, and there's only one or two sea turtles that can kind of generate some of their own body temperature. So if they get below freezing, they will freeze. Ice crystals of them, they'll die. So they have to get below the frost line. So, something like a box turtle has it tough because they have got to get underground up here in North Georgia. They've got to get probably a foot or more below the surface. An aquatic turtle is easy because no lakes or ponds in Georgia freeze more than an inch or so. But up north, I grew up in Massachusetts, and I remember going ice skating on clear ice and seeing turtles sitting on the bottom or slowly moving around. They were trapped there for the winter, and they could slow down their metabolism so they had enough oxygen, and they could actually get some oxygen out of the water. But box turtles have got to get underground, and that's something we should mention to everybody is that from this time of the year on, if you pick up a box turtle and you move it, that box turtle knows its home area. It knows where there are stump holes that go down deep. If you move it somewhere else, it's hit or miss whether it's going to find a good hibernation site. And the later in the year, particularly when you find box turtles in the fall crossing roads heading towards their hibernaculum, if you move them, they're probably not going to make it. So, but they got to get underground. And in some places where there's loose soil, they'll just burrow down 6-8 inches and burrow as it gets colder, and they just sit there for the whole winter, completely dormant. The thing that totally amazed me about hibernation is bog turtles, because those bog turtles in the fall, they burrow down in the mud, take their last gulp of air, and they stay underwater in that wet mud till about March. And when I had radio transmitters on there, I would go up in the winter to some of my mountain bogs, and I would have to stick my hand the whole length of my arm down out to the armpit, down to find these turtles hibernating. And it was not very comfortable. I had to pull my hand out of there, but those turtles are there, and they do that every year, and it's pretty amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is really neat. Thank you for that explanation.
Betty posted a turtle rehoming and rescue link from the Georgia Reptile Society. I reposted it so everyone could see it. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Are there any more questions for Ken? Take 1 second. And if not, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So thank you so much, Ken, for joining us today. We have one more. Dawn says she loves the art on your walls, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right, well, we have a couple closing remarks and reminders to do with Confluence. So if you have not done so already, we urge you to join our Confluence 2020 Facebook group. This will help you keep up to date on upcoming sessions, connect with volunteers, get access to resources and recordings. Super helpful, so we will definitely recommend joining that. If you don't already, we recommend you follow us on Instagram and Facebook to keep up with the latest going-ons in Adopt a Stream. We post lots of great pictures and cool resources and links. There are a lot of great sessions coming up this year, this month. This is only our second session, so we have a full month basically left of Confluence. So to get more information about our upcoming sessions, please check out our conference schedule and register for more sessions on our session registration page. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. And if you do see a session that you are really excited to join, but you can't quite make it to that, that slot, then we will be recording and posting all of our sessions minus the social events to our resources and recordings page. And all of these links have been posted in our chat.
Yes, that's correct. I put all the links in the chat kind of as Cecilia was describing them. So just the last few more things is, as per tradition, Confluence has a silent auction this year. So this year, because of our virtual format, the silent auction is going to be online. The link's also in the chat. And you can bid on the items until August 31st. And When you leave this webinar, you're going to be directed towards a page that will ask you to participate in a survey. So we really, really encourage you to participate in this quick 5-question survey to just let us know what you thought about this session and let us know how we can improve. We really appreciate your feedback. And also, as always, if you're interested in learning more about AdoptAstream or want to get involved or have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us. Email is the best way, and our email address is also posted in the chat. So again, thanks everyone for joining. We hope to see you at another Confluence session again soon, and have a great night.
Thank you, guys.